ये एक मंजिल है तो रास्ते भी होंगे और एक मेंटर भी जो मुश्किलों को आसान बना दे। नतीजे संयोग नहीं होते, दूसरों से बेहतर स्कोर होते हैं। GS Score, an institute for civil services.
Good career is a process, and mentoring at GS Score is driven by primarily two objectives. One is empowerment and another is excellence. This is what we are known for.
कामयाबी की राह पर 1000 से भी ज्यादा निशान। GS Score.
Hello everyone, my name is Anoushka Sharma, and in the UPSC Civil Services 2022 examination, I secured 20th rank All India. This was my third attempt, and in my previous two attempts, in the first attempt I could not clear prelims, and in the second attempt I reached the interview stage and missed the final list by a few marks. For my background, I was born in Jaipur. I have stayed in various cities due to the transferable nature of my father's job. My father works in Bank of India and currently he's in deputation as chairman of Madhya Pradesh Gramin Bank, and my mother is a housewife. I have done my schooling from Mumbai, Maharashtra, and I have done 10 years from Bal Bharati Public School, Navi Mumbai, and 2 years from Stepping Stone School, Chandigarh. For my bachelor's, I went to City University of New York, Baruch College, and I did my BBA in economics, and that was also one of the reasons why I chose economics as my optional. I graduated in 2019 and returned to India in June 2019, and I started my preparation in October 2019, and it has been almost 4 years and I have got or achieved my goal this year. So for the overall strategy, I would like to focus in this video on prelims and mains and focus on interview separately in a separate video. So let's start with prelims. Prelims, I think, is one of the most unpredictable stage of this examination, and that requires the most focused dedication when it comes to the efforts. So first, focusing on the sources for prelims. For polity, the focus should be Lakshmikant, and for current affairs, you can use current affairs compilations such as PT 365 of Vision, etc. For modern history, I followed Spectrum, and for ancient and medieval history, I made notes out of the old NCRTs which were written by R.S. Sharma. For geography, I followed the NCRTs of 11th and 12th standard, and selectively, I read some chapters from G.C. Leong. For environment, I followed Shankar IAS for clearing my for getting conceptual clarity, and for current affairs I again followed PT 365, as well as I tried to read the newspaper on a daily basis so that I was in the habit or aware about what was happening in general. So these were most of the sources, and for CSAT I used the mock test of various institutes as well as the previous papers of UPSC and solved them to learn about the best approach to solve this paper. For prelims, it is very important that we have concise notes and we revise them again and again. Usually, the objective of our studies should be such that after one revision, in the next revision, we have to cover the topics in a more faster and quick manner. It should not take as much time as our previous revision, or we are doing something wrong. Therefore, for prelims, the focus is on revision and practice through mock test. Revision comes from concise notes, limited sources, as well as consistent revision of the major topics which are getting repeated in the examination. For prelims, the focus is equally distributed on all the subjects, but majority of questions come from polity, economics and environment. As economics was my optional, as well as I have background in economics, I used the newspapers for preparing for economics, but in general, if people want, then they can refer to NCRTs of 11th and 12th. In prelims, the way to deal with the paper is very crucial, and for that I had a strategy that I used to solve the paper in rounds. In the first round, it used to take me 45 to 50 minutes, and I used to read the entire question paper as well as mark in the OMR sheet only those questions about which I was very sure. And they used to be only from 20 to 30 questions about which I was very sure. In the second round, which used to take the maximum chunk of time, I used to solve almost 40 to 50 questions, and those were the questions in which I had eliminated one or two choices. And these are those questions where your real elimination skills would be needed. And in the third round, I used to solve those questions in which I could eliminate only one option and I was not very sure about it, or I was doing some guesswork or just taking wild guesses. But in the third round, the questions that I attempted were very minimal because the risk was very high when it came to negative marking. So this was my general approach of solving the prelims GS1 paper, and I usually used to attempt questions 85 plus, but from the range of 85 to 90. So that was my approach for solving the prelims paper. Now coming to the elimination techniques which are useful in the prelims paper. Prelims is very dynamic and it does not only test your knowledge of various subjects, but it also tests your awareness as well as your current state of mind in which you are able to eliminate the wrong options so that you are able to get the right options. In the questions I said for the second round, usually there is one or two statements which can be eliminated based on the knowledge that we have read, and based on eliminating that statement, we can usually arrive at the right answer, because in any question in prelims you have 1, 2, 3 statements and then the options are 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1 only, etc. So if you are able to eliminate that the second statement is not right, then it is possible that you can come to the right answer. So learning these elimination skills is very important, and I feel like extreme statements usually are not correct, such as always, never. These statements are very extreme and usually you can eliminate these statements very easily. And the third thing I used to follow was that possibility statements such as the potential applications of various things in science and technology, we do not know the entire scope of the application. Therefore, mostly the possibility questions, the answer is usually all of the above. If something seems very far-fetched, then there is the option that it might not be correct. But usually in those questions of science and tech as well as environment, given the wide possibilities, I think all of the above can be some of right answer. Therefore, these are some of the elimination techniques that I utilized. But having said that, consistent revision is key for prelims, and that is something we can see through the mock test. For prelims examination, I think doing mock test is very crucial. Therefore, I did some 30 to 40 mock tests from different institutions such as Insights, Vision IS, etc. And more than the mock test, I used to also focus on the solutions which were given for those tests. Because the key purpose of the mock test is to enhance our elimination skills as well as focus on learning new information which can help us in elimination. So usually for mock tests, I used to solve them in 1 to 1.5 hours, and after that I used to devote 2 to 3 hours in the solutions. I used to highlight the important points as well as I used to revise these mock solutions again and again, because they can help you in the prelims examination in terms of eliminating the statements which might help you get the answers. Therefore, I would say practice is key for prelims examination, and if there is consistent revision, awareness about the current affairs and practice through the mock test, then it should not be very difficult to clear the cutoff for prelims examination. Now I would like to transition to the strategy for the mains examination. My optional was economics, and I would like to cover a very detailed strategy about economics as I have also benefited from them, and for that I would make a separate video. But in this, I would like to focus on the GS strategy that I adopted for mains examination. So in GS, we have essay, GS1, GS2, GS3 and GS4, and these are the 5 papers, and then we also have the language papers of English and Hindi. So for GS papers, the main strategy that I did was Prelims provides us with the conceptual clarity which helps us write good introductions for mains answers, because in mains we have to have a very strong introduction which is filled with definition of facts which is provided to us through our prelims preparation. But mains also expects us to go one step forward and have an analysis about what are the benefits as well as flaws of the situation, and also have a futuristic approach when it comes to any issue. Therefore, for mains examination, the approach that I took was, I took the syllabus, I used Google and internet extensively for making online notes as well as written notes on the keywords that were mentioned in the syllabus, such as if there is a topic such as internal security, etc. I utilized every word that was mentioned in the syllabus, and I prepared data as well as definition, the various issues that were plaguing the situation, as well as the initiatives that have been taken by the government, and also some innovative practices which have helped us curb the issue, and also some futuristic approach. So having these detailed notes provided me with the knowledge that was needed for mains examination, because in mains the issue is not of knowledge, but it is more of presenting that knowledge in 3 hours in a time-bound manner in the examination hall. Therefore, the first step that is necessary is preparing on all the keywords that is present in the syllabus and having notes which can provide you with a toolkit to write a 150 words or a 250 words answer. So for GS1, GS2 and GS3, I prepared extensive notes on all the keywords and I used to revise them continuously. I tried to revise all my notes in the time between prelims and mains at least 3 to 4 times, and I tried that 80% of the notes were already prepared before the prelims examination, because the 3 months duration which is given between prelims and mains examination is to be utilized for practicing through the mock test. So in my third attempt, almost 80% of the, or I would say 90% of the information was prepared, and for the rest of the topics I started compiling the notes as soon as possible after prelims examination, and that helped me start with the mock test early on in my preparation, and I think that played a key role in getting good marks in the GS papers. Now coming to the practice, and also another crucial part of the mains examination is the answer writing strategy. So in mains, if we are not able to present our answer in a good manner, then we would not be able to fetch good marks for our knowledge as well as in the paper. Therefore, for answer, it needs to be in a structured manner. There needs to be an introduction, a body and a conclusion. And it also needs to be structured in terms of, I used to usually write in bullet points as well as use a lot of diagrams such as hub and spoke, etc. And this is not only to make it easier for oneself while writing the answer, but also to make it easier for the examiner to check. For you, it is years of efforts and hard work which have gone into writing and giving those examinations, but for the examiners, they would devote maximum 20 to 25 minutes for your copy. So if you can make it easier for them to check it, then you would be able to get more marks in your GS papers. And for that, I used to practice in a time-bound manner in my test series that I had taken for mains examination. So in my attempt in 2021, I took test series of Vision IAS, and in my second attempt, just to get diversity, I utilized the test series of Forum IAS while also revising the questions that I had written in the previous year. When initially I started attempting those tests, for the first test it took me much more than the 3 hours of the stipulated time, but the effort or the motivation was to reduce the time it was taken to write those tests. Usually, given the knowledge that we have all gained in this process, we can write very elaborate answers, but it is also key that we can summarize it in a short manner. Therefore, I think practicing through mock test is very important for mains examination. And I used to give almost 2-3 tests in a time bound manner, and also at the same time in which the examination would be conducted. So usually I used to try to write the test from 9 to 12 and 2 to 5, just so I was in that state of mind and there was practice for me. So I think for mains examination also, consistent revisions, revising the current affairs so that we have more facts and analysis, as well as practicing through the mock test is important. So that was my overall strategy, and for that I used the basic books for helping me clear my concepts, as well as the internet extensively to get any new information and better analysis of various topics. So this was my approach mainly for the mains examination. But I would also like to talk about the Hindi paper, because that was something I struggled with. I had not done Hindi since my 10th standard, and it was something very difficult for me to cover after such a gap. So for that, I took the previous year papers, as well as I got a book from the market in which the previous year papers and their solutions were given, and I used to solve them, as well as I tried to write any news that I read on a daily basis in Hindi, a small paragraph daily, so that it used to provide me with the scope of practice and I had an idea about what mistakes I was doing. Therefore, my advice would be to not neglect the language papers, because if we do not clear the language papers, then our other GS papers and optional papers would also not be checked. So my advice would be to not neglect it, and at least devote some time, if not daily, then on a weekly basis, so that this is not an hindrance in the examination. So this was my overall strategy for the prelims and mains examination. Now, focusing on something which is not so much talked about is the motivation, or what kept me going in these 3 attempts. So I could not clear prelims in the first attempt, and that was heartbreaking. And similarly, when in the second attempt I could not see my name on the final list, that was also very demotivating. But reminding yourself why you started this journey and what was that motivated you is important, and that can help you keep going in this process. Also, having a strong support system in terms of parents, mentors, friends and family is crucial, so that when you are feeling something, then you can share it with them, and that would make you feel lighter. Also, another aspect that I would like to highlight is that this examination is built with a lot of uncertainty. When we are preparing, we are not sure that we would get success in this examination. Therefore, it is very important to have a balance when it comes to balancing our hobbies or life with the preparation of this examination. So I used to devote 8 to 10 hours on a daily basis for my studies, and it used to go up to 13 to 14 hours when the exams were approaching. But I also tried to balance it with my hobbies, so that it provided me with a source of rejuvenation. I did not cut myself completely from social media, but I saw to it that it was not a distraction, but something which helped me refresh and get out of my studies. Therefore, my advice would be to balance the preparation and not be so engrossed and consider it as the end goal. Therefore, my message to all the aspirants would be: work hard, have a strategy, believe in yourself, and if there are failures in this process, do not get disheartened. Learn from the mistakes and keep moving ahead, because perseverance, consistency and hard work are some of the key elements which are needed in this examination. So this was all from my side for the prelims and main strategy, and I would make a separate video on the interview strategy.